Hey everyone, what's going on? Today we are playing Sagrada again with Sagrada Life expansion. And we are playing with the Masterworks module. Let's get into it! How's it going?
Good.
So what do we have back at the table again?
We're bringing the Sagrada Life expansion back to the table today.
Because
Last time we played with the
Apprentices
module. Today we are going to play with the Masterworks module, and we're playing with the Toil public objectives.
Oh boy.
So we might be inviting quite a challenge here. So in our last video covering Sagrada Life, I sort of explained the basics of the base game itself. So I'm not going to go into that today. I will just talk about what's new with the Masterworks module from the Life expansion. And then we'll jump right in. But if you do want to know more about how the base game is actually played, you can check out our other Sagrada video. I am going to say that Nick will link to it, but he doesn't usually do that.
I'll try.
All right, so we are going to play with the Masterworks module, which is this board right here, these orange dice right here, and 2 new tools. Now, normally you would just shuffle these tools into your deck of tools and randomly select them, but I wanted to see kind of what they do, so I actually handpicked both of the new tools from the Masterworks expansion, and then we randomly chose a 3rd tool to use. So with a 2-player game, which is what we're going to do, you only get 1 set of these orange die. I stopped reading after that because any other player count didn't relate to us, but I suspect that maybe if you're playing with higher player counts, you get to play with more than 1 set of these die. But for 2 players, you only play with 1 set, and they're set up like this at the beginning of the game. So you'll notice that there are different symbols on each of these die. There are dots above 5 of the 6 of these die. And then there are colors and numbers here. The way that the Masterworks module works is, that's a mouthful, is that on your turn, after drafting your die for your regular draft, you can swap out that die based on its color or value. So if I had, for example, a purple 6, let's say, I could either put it here or here. Once I put it into one of those spots, I get the number of stones that's indicated by the arrow. So if I put it in the 6th spot here, I'd get 2 stones. If I put it in the purple spot here, I'd get 1 stone. Then I would take the related die and I would place it into my window, obeying color restrictions, but not the number restrictions. So normally you cannot place things in certain places in your window unless they are what it says. Like I couldn't place anything but a 6 here or anything but a blue here. For these dice, you can place them into the numbered spaces, but not the colored spaces. You also have to obey all other placement rules. And what you're hoping to do is you're hoping that by the end of the game, you will have met the criteria for the Masterworks die that you placed, so that you can gain some points. So, and the way that works is anyone with the arrows, there are 4 dice with the arrows. I'm saying, by placing this here, that at the end of the game, this is going to be blue. It has to be blue, right? But then this is also going to be blue. If both of these are blue, as indicated by the arrows here, or if they are the same value, so if this happens to be a 2, and this happens to be a 2, then I will get 5 extra points for this Masterworks die. But if for some reason I'm not able to pull off a matching number or color combo into the spots indicated by the arrows here, I will lose 2 points. So there are 4 die that have arrows, and then there are 2 die that have some sort of anti-equals thing. This one right here says that the color of the 4 orthogonally adjacent die cannot match. And this one is the same, but its value. The value of the 4 orthogonal dice adjacent to that die cannot match. So, like I said, you acquire these by drafting a die on your turn and then swapping it out by putting it into one of these spaces here and taking the related die. Then you place that die instead. And if you can make the die work the way it's supposed to, then at the end of the game you get 5 extra points for that. Otherwise, you lose 2 points. So that's the essential parts of the Masterworks expansion. Like I said, we're playing with 2 new tools. This one right here, the Mosaic Cutter. This one says, swap a Masterwork die in your window with a die from the round track. You must obey all placement restrictions. So I guess if you were ambitious and you took a Masterwork die and that's not working out for you, I guess that would be maybe a way to get rid of it. And this one right here says, change a Masterwork die in your window to any side, keeping the same location, and you can change its orientation as well. So a couple of new tools that we're going to see. We're also, like I said, playing with the Toil public objectives this time around. There's not a lot of information about these in the rulebook, but they seem like they're kind of tricky. So this one, for example, it says that if you have a pattern in any column, if you have a pattern of die that change color or value. So here they alternate from blue to orange, or 1 to 3, 1 to 3, yellow to purple. These are just examples. So if you have alternating numbers or colors in a column, then you get 5 points per column. This one, I need to look this one up because I'm a little confused by it. It says it's the sum of the values in the completed column with the highest total value. Okay, never mind. I read it more carefully and now I understand. So basically you add up all of your columns and whichever one has the highest value, you get that number of points. That's an interesting one. And then this one right here, this says you get 3 victory points for each die that matches both the color and value of a die on the round track. So that's interesting. We are sticking with just the plain secret objectives again this time. There are more secret objectives than just the ones that were included in the base game, but we're going to stick with just the base game secret objectives while we explore some of the new content from the latest expansion. So yeah, I think we're ready to go.
Awesome. So we'll get back to you guys midway through the game. And yeah, I'm excited. Sagrada is one of my favorite puzzle-y games because I just love sometimes it's a negative for the solo, I forget what it's called, but basically solo interaction.
Multiplayer solo game.
Yeah, multiplayer solo game. But in this case, it's kind of one of those nice. I appreciate it in this one. It's not a negative for this. So
it is a drafting game, so there is
that hate
little
draft.
Bit of little bit of player interaction where maybe another player takes the die.
And it's also nice to see, for me, it's nice to see others if they made what they were supposed to do or if they didn't, because it's always kind of cool to compare, ooh, hey, you did that or did that, and even the complexity, because we're playing some pretty intense public goals. And so if we're able to do that, it's pretty cool. Or if we're not, it's interesting to collaborate or interesting to discuss about why we weren't able to complete those or how we did complete those. So this is one of those games where I just love the discussion during the gameplay. And now that we get the life expansion, some more stuff to throw into it.
Sagrada always feels like to me that we are each struggling alone, but together on our puzzles and in life in general, right? But
getting deep here.
But that's one of the things that I kind of like about Sagrada. I tend to like multiplayer solitaire.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Multiplayer solitaire games A little bit more than ones with like a ton of player interaction because I don't like it when people mess up my stuff.
Yeah.
So
Don't put your finger in my soup.
Don't back off. Just back off. So I kind of tend to like multiplayer solitaire games anyway. And in Sagrada does, I don't know, there's something about just the essence of the game where you still feel like you're all sitting down at the same table playing the same game. You're not completely alienated. Sometimes multiplayer solitaire games fall into like the sort of pitfall that like, who freaking cares that you're even sitting at the same table together because you're just off in your own world entirely. But with Sagrada, it feels like you're still working on your own thing, but like, here we are together, you know?
Yes.
So.
Cool. All right, so let's get to it. We'll get back to you guys in a bit. Toodles. Hey, Sarah. So now we just got into the halfway point in or a little more than halfway, in our game of Sagrada with the life expansion and with the Masterworks module. What do you think so far?
I like it. It's interesting. So one of the main things about the Masterworks module is that after you draft a die, you can exchange it for a Masterworks die. And it has been really interesting. I have one, you have two. Have you pulled off both of yours?
Let's see. Yes.
So at the end of the game, each Masterworks die that you've successfully completed will be worth 5 points.
And also they get you more of these.
And
they could
get you
be
more stones.
Potentially more points.
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting. There was one point in the game where I had like the perfect location for a Masterwork die, but I did the color that I needed or the color of the number in order to exchange for it wasn't present. So I couldn't exchange for it. So yeah, it's interesting. It adds like another layer of strategy. So yeah, I like it. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it too. It's definitely a nice addition. I kind of don't like it when board games come out with expansions like right out of the gate. And this one's kind of been, they've been trickling out expansions little here and there. So it's like they're listening to their fan base, or they're continuously developing the game into something new, and we could do this, we could do that. So they're always throwing some new things in.
I feel like so there are 3 scheduled facade expansions. Life is the second of the 3, so 2 have come out. 1 is still yet to be released. So far we've had a 5-6 player expansion, and we've had
Passion.
2, Passion and Life of the facades come out. So there's 1 more facade expansion. Past that, I'm not aware of any scheduled releases for Sagrada. However, I feel like even just right now, even before the 3rd facade is released, I feel like there's a ton of replayability in the game at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, a ton.
Really, there is, because we're playing like piece by piece, but you can just
you can just kind of mash everything together, and there are enough cards in just about every deck at this point. Not just the public objectives, not just the tools, but also the private objectives, where you can have a good deal of like replayability as far as like not seeing the same card combos pop up frequently. So I think even just right now, the game has a lot of replayability built into it at this point. And with the 3rd facade expansion still yet to be released, plus maybe anything else that the design team and the publisher have maybe in the pipes. I don't know of anything like that. But I mean, even if they just released the 5-6 player expansion and the 3 facades, I feel like they would have presented us with like a game.
more than enough game to like chew on for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, we're gonna go get back into the game, and we'll go ahead and talk to you guys later about who is the winner and loser of Sagrada Life with the Masterworks module. All right, toodles. Yeah, so how did scoring go for the end of the game?
Scoring went. I did not do well again. Both times we played this, I've lost. I had 72 points, but Nick had 86.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, there was one card, this one right here, This public objective said that you got 3 points for every die on the round track of which you had an identical copy in your window. So, for example, if you had a yellow 3, then you would get 3 points. And Nick had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think 10 of these. So, yeah, he scored like 30 points just off of that card alone. I had you beat on both of these other ones.
Yeah.
But you also had me beat on, you had a bunch of leftover stones, and I only had 4. And you also pulled off more of the masterwork criteria than I did. I was able to pull off 2, but you pulled off 3. And you also beat me on something else.
I think that was it.
Yeah, that might have been it, because I beat you on the secret objectives. I had 2 points over you on that. So yeah, I like the Masterworks module quite a bit, to be honest. The one that we played the other day, the Apprentices, it was fine, but it wasn't.
The Apprentices needed to. I like the Sagrada Life expansion altogether. I'm just saying for the Apprentices, you need them with something. You can't have them alone.
Yeah, they were kind of. They didn't really change up the game a lot.
Now, if we played a game where we put them both together in this, I think that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, that could be pretty intense.
And a lot of options in the game.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just the 2 modules that were in this particular expansion. We haven't even tried to mix and match with the previous expansion or with anything
more players,
from the 5-6 player expansion. So. They're such small little boxes. I mean, look at how big this is. This is a tiny little box, right? There's like not that much in there, but they just jam pack a bunch of content into those little boxes.
Bang for your buck.
For sure. And this is not sponsored. They did send us a copy of Life for review, but they didn't sponsor us or anything like that. So like these are genuinely our opinions.
Yeah, we didn't have to do a second vlog. We just thought...
I just wanted to try the Masterworks module, and we wanted to try them like in little bite-sized pieces so we could kind of absorb everything that was happening
and get more of a feel for each module that was in the expansion altogether.
Yeah.
And you know, with the Apprentices, you need them with something. With Masterworks, you don't really, but if you played with both modules together in Sagrada Life after kind of getting the handle on both of them, it'd be a pretty interesting game.
I really liked the Masterworks module. I thought that it added some interesting things, and it just added an optional but present puzzle in case you wanted to add that to the existing game.
Yeah.
And I mean that not just in like choose to play with the expansion or not, but I also mean like if you're sitting down and playing with the expansion, you can choose whether or not to incorporate this into your own personal window if you want to or not. And I thought that I liked it. I liked what it brought to the game, and I liked that it didn't necessarily increase the complexity if you didn't want it to, because you didn't have to participate.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to, it was there, and you could do it if you wanted to. So.
Indeed. All right. Well, that is all the modules for Sagrada Life expansion.
We even played with the Toils public objectives this time around, and the new tools as well. So if you watch this and our other Sagrada Life video, you'll have seen pretty much everything that's in that expansion. Excuse me.
Well, awesome. Well, this is another one of our vlogs. We hope you all enjoyed this video, this part 2 to Sagrada and Sagrada's Life expansion. So yeah, until next time, toodles!